Keep moving quick and slick, don't wait for the light to flick. Now's the time to make the call, don't let the moment stall.
Coming up today on Daily Tech, a useful use case that actually puts your M4 hardware to work, along with what I think of as my productivity secret weapon, along with other tips and tricks that I actually use to get more done. A lot of people feel like iPadOS is too limited for the powerful hardware that it's running on, especially for the new M4 iPad Pro. Now, the purpose of this video isn't to dispute that, but I do want to say when it comes to my iPad Pro setup, I like to view myself as the pro in the setup. And recently I've been able to at least double my productivity by taking 3 simple steps. Here's a productivity related question for you. Would you be surprised to know that somebody like me who already manages one YouTube channel full time is able to record an extra 15 to 25 videos for a second channel every single week on top of my normal upload schedule? It's possible due to efficiencies. I'm using my time and my tools very efficiently. The iPad's a huge part of that. I want to share with you the things that I've reflected back on, thinking about like, what could I do to share with people to help them be that efficient as well in their work. Real quick though, before we get into it, I just want to let you know all my non-pre-sale courses are 50% off right now for the end of the year holiday sale. So if you've had your eye on the Freeform course, productivity course, Pro iPhone Video Essentials course, or any of the others, then get them while they're 50% off for a limited time only. The first super simple thing you can do on your iPad is to better organize your ideas and information, because your ideas are kind of like the engines that drive the actions that you're going to take. So you need to be able to note them down, organize them, easily find them in order to put them to good use. Now, I came up with something recently that I like to call the OneNote system. I'm in Bare Notes over here on the left, and I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 brackets and link to the OneNote here, which is sort of my main note that sort of functions like a table of contents for everything that I care about right now that's relevant to me right now in my work. So I'm gonna go ahead and double click on that open link, and you can see right now that I've got some to-dos at the top, and I've got some stuff that's top of mind, and I've got my frequently accessed notes right under that. So very literally, I know where everything I'm going to need to access in my personal wiki is right off the bat. And this is using Bare Notes. You could do something similar in Apple Notes or a million different notes apps. So this represents instant access to all the knowledge, ideas, brainstorms, work that I need to get to. And each of those notes individually links back to the OneNote. So if you think of your notes like a house, then this is the room that I spend the most time in. And it kind of has a tunnel or a door into all the other rooms where I might need to get to quickly. But something else I've been testing is an app called Poi, P-O-I, and you can start recording and actually record a note or capture a brainstorm or an idea that then gets saved in this nice note card format. Now, the other thing you might notice is that I've got some sticky notes over here. This is basically just a freeform board that I've sized down to be slim and fit over to the right side of my workspace. And I actually love just having those there always visible while I'm doing some writing or research or whatever it is that I'm doing, because they're a great place for temporary information. And it looks like I just stuck some actual physical sticky notes on there. So it's pretty cool. And it's fun to just interact with the iPad in different ways at the same time. So I'm typing, I'm writing. It just makes for a nice experience. And then when it's time to take action, I like to actually just hit this dictate button here, hold it down and say, start a timer for 5 minutes and get to work. Because there's something about working in a 5-minute chunk that really snaps me into the mode where I can just get things done really easily. Because if it's something that I don't like, 5 minutes isn't too much. And oftentimes by the time I dig into it, it's like, okay, I'll give it 5 minutes. Then I'm resetting that timer about 4 more times. It's like 20 minutes and I'm really deep into whatever it is that I was writing or working on. And it's just a good way to like kickstart my work efforts without being overwhelmed. Now, that's how I organize information. Let's talk about how I focus and disconnect in an extreme way. What do I mean by that? Well, can I just go to focus and enable a focus mode, especially this reduce interruptions here, maybe for an hour? That's new with Apple Intelligence. I can't. I find that too many things still sneak through and kick me out of whatever flow that I'm hopefully in. So maybe I will enable that anyways, but what I like to do is just turn off all my cell connection, my Wi-Fi connection, go into airplane mode, and now I'm disconnected from the internet. And at this point, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, Chris, what if you need to research or something? Don't you need the internet for that? Actually, no. Let me introduce you to one of my new favorite apps. Underneath my stickies over here, I also have a slimmed down window that I can switch between nicely by just tapping on the corner there, called Apollo. And Apollo is a local AI app. Now, Apollo actually gives you a real reason to have the latest, greatest Apple Silicon, the M4 chip, soon the M5 chip, running on your iPad. That's because it runs a local model that, yes, works when the internet is disconnected. Has one really other cool feature I want to tell you about in just a second. But here's the thing, it's also private. Because it's local, it's private. So you're not kicking out to ChatGPT or Claude or any other LLM. It's all happening locally on your actual iPad. That's why you need the power under the hood to actually make it happen, because it turns out that uses a lot of compute. So I'm disconnected from the internet here, got airplane mode going, and I could just type in here, you know what I mean? Or I could hit this microphone button here and you can see it's picking up what I'm saying. So I've got a voice mode activated over here. So I can just have that open while I'm editing a document over here and just kind of interact with it offline and privately like it's an assistant here. So let me just stop that and let's restart it. I'm working on an outline for an iPad productivity video, and I can't remember the name of the technique where you set a timer for 20 minutes and then take a break.
You're thinking of the Pomodoro technique. It's a time management method that involves working in focused 25-minute increments, followed by a 5-minute break.
It's true that you could take advantage of Apple's writing tools, but like I said, sometimes it's nice to have that pure privacy and this voice mode enabled. So you can see I've done a lot of customizing of my workflow, the apps that I'm using, the way that I'm interacting with the internet even. But one of the best customizations you can make is to get yourself a paper-like screen protector. There's a reason why I'm always promoting them. Yes, they're a sponsor, but they're a sponsor I'm happy to promote because it makes such a difference. When you're using the Apple Pencil to have that resistance, the nano dots make it so that whatever you're watching isn't blurry, still looks crystal clear. One thing I've always appreciated about the iPad is that I can use it in different mental modes. When I'm typing, that's one way of thinking. When I'm writing by hand, that's a completely different way of thinking. It activates a different part of my brain, and I feel like I'm a little more creative that way, in a different way than I am when I'm typing. So to be able to switch modes and to do it in the way that I prefer, which is with that paper-like, is such an upgrade. You should definitely check it out. It's linked up down below. Now, I'm really excited to tell you about my secret productivity weapon. It's actually what I like to call functional music. Other than sounding good, music is often fairly pointless. But I've actually created some music for myself that is, number one, really good sounding. I love the way it sounds. And number two, actually, truthfully, really helps me be more productive. How is that possible? Well, I'm using an app called Suno. They have a new version out, V4, which sounds pretty good, where I can take a song or a band or an artist that I like and reverse engineer it, not in Suno actually, but using a different AI, and be like, how would you describe whatever band or song that I like? Give me some descriptive words, plug that into Suno, and then give it a topic, which is something that's gonna be really beneficial to me. Like, I've got a song on here about not waiting to do stuff, do it now, don't hesitate, which is more or less built off of the 2-minute rule, which is something I covered in my productivity course. But it's crazy, it sounds so good, like just as good as something you hear on the radio, maybe better. And then it gets stuck in my head. I engineered it to have this catchy bass line that literally gets stuck in my head. I'm thinking about it all day. And here's a little bit of what it sounds like.
Do it now, don't hesitate. Seize the moment, don't be late. Energy pumping through our veins. No more holding back the reins. Burning bright like gasoline. Ride the high, don't intervene. Take control, this is fait accompli. No lazy in this frenzied spree.
Okay, so that's just one example. Now imagine you've got some stuff to do and this kicks into your head. By the way, I've created several different playlists, like got a future-based workout playlist, some other stuff too. So better organizing my information, extreme focus and disconnection, and then personalized custom functional music. These are 3 things that I've been able to implement along with some of the other tips that you picked up that have really made a big difference in everything that I'm doing. But, you know, in particular, working on that second channel, figuring out how to streamline things and what I could automate and how I could really get the most bang for my buck in terms of like my time spent every day, and still be able to do my regular workload on top of that and have time for like other side projects and stuff is pretty crazy. All of this stuff went a very long way towards making that possible. And that, of course, is in conjunction with things like my calendar or reminders, which I still rely on heavily, or just some of the productivity techniques and know-how that I picked up over the years, most of which you can find in my productivity course called Learning to Be Productive, which is, again, 50% off right now for the holidays, linked up down below for a limited time. The point is, you can do a lot with an iPad if you have the willpower, if you want to, if you're curious, and if you won't be stopped. Thanks for watching. If you picked up something useful here, let me know which of the tips is resonating with you the most. I'll catch you in the next video. Later.